Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Always Almost There, day after show live. We are here today. Neil and I are in a rest stop somewhere in Pennsylvania. We have been driving. We left Portland this morning. We've been making our way down to Philadelphia. We are going to the Intern HQ. Unfortunately, we weren't able to make it in time for the pod, but we will be there with both interns tonight, which is going to be fun. Going to see Brownstein Family Band out there. It's going to be great. But, of course, we are here for one reason only, and that is to talk about last night's show in Portland, which was a blast. The people are clamoring for him. We've got him on today. We've been looking forward to this for a while. Connor, a.k.a. Long Strange Niche. Welcome back to the pod. Good to have you on again. How's it going?
Thank you for having me on. I just saw how many Goose shows that were so sick, and then last night they just keep getting better.
They're all pretty sick. People are saying. I think we can end the pod there. Last night was sick.
Yep. All right. See you guys later.
That's it. So, Connor, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I have a rest day, thankfully. I'm hoping the guys are resting too, and then I'm driving to Philly tomorrow morning. And then, Philly, Connecticut, New York, Connecticut. So
they might be sick. You think they're going to be sick?
I think they're going to be sick. I have convinced myself that of a Matt Campbell sit-in. I have no knowledge of this. I won't be upset if there's not, but I basically was telling my friends, well, I have to be in Connecticut because way too much sick stuff has happened this year. And I kind of want to have people hear Matt sing Hot Love and the Lazy Poet.
That would be pretty cool.
That would
I think you're going to see Hot Love and the Lazy Poet at one of these three shows for sure. So
kind of why I'm going to all of them. I'm very jealous.
Guarantee, got to cover all the bases. Guarantee that you see a Hot Love.
I was there for the first one, and I'm so jealous that there are people in the world that have seen multiple, but I'm just so happy that we live in a world where Hot Love and the Lazy Poet is a Goose song.
Yeah, it can be played at any time. Well, let's dive into last night's show here. Connor, you said you mentioned before we hit record here that you brought someone to their first show last night. What was the pre-show vibe like for you getting in? Where you posted up?
We drove up from the Boston area, and then we hit the Bissell Brewery beforehand. I've gotten the chicken sandwich from there for the past 3 Portland shows, and it's been delicious every single time. I highly recommend Bissell, but I didn't get the Crocs. They have their own Crocs, and I stared at them for far too long. That was great, and then we rolled in, and it was met the neighbors, and we were I was pretty deep in it, not fully rail, but you see the rail creatures and you're like, oh yeah, that person, I love you. Okay. Hug. And then someone gets a little wide on you and you're just like, all right, I'll just stay here. Hung out for a bit. It was fantastic because these people next to us were like, oh guys, do you have another battery? I have a full cart, but I don't have a battery for my weed vape. And I was like, I got some joints right here. Which then led into a great bit during the Jive 2, because I was just like, what, guys, I know we just split 1.5 gram joint between 6 people, but I'd have to say, and actually, Rick, I'll let you say it, a little bit goes a long, long way. And it was got some laughs, so that's really what it's all about. It's not about the show. It's about me getting laughs during the show.
Well, that's what this is about. Josh, to answer your question, we are in Franklin Lakes, Pennsylvania, and we will be at your house eventually. Neil, how are you feeling pre-show last night?
Pre-show last night, feeling great. Had a super busy day. Went for a hike to a waterfall. Worked out in the the hotel gym. It was like I wasn't even on tour. It's I was just on vacation. So yeah, man, I was feeling great before the show. Like Connor, I also went to Bissell Brothers, and as I've done before, every single Goose show in Portland, because that place just rules. And of course now it's just right near Thompson's Point. So killer, absolutely killer pre-show vibes. Portland is hands down my favorite city I've ever seen Goose in. So I was, vibes are through the roof.
Yeah.
Does Neil have a ponytail?
No,
No, I
there
saw
yet.
him from behind at Bissell, and decided not to just flock to him, but no ponytail.
Yeah, it was good. I started in the same spot that we were on night one. Definitely more people there last night than there were on Tuesday. The spot right in front of the soundboard kind of filled in very, very quickly. People were trying to like move in and like fill in like the very small amounts of empty space there was. So by the time, middle of the second set rolled around, I'd moved back more to where you were, Neil, which was a great spot. Vibes were high back there as well. But let's dive into the show here a little bit. Let's get started. First three songs: Turbulence in the Night Rays, Doc Brown, Ate Up All the Cake. Connor.
I mean, Turbs, obviously. Shout out my buddy Putt, who loves Turbs, and he heard it before I did. But I mean, Doc Brown. I mean, if you aren't on the internet, you didn't know the clamoring for Doc Brown by Here for Goose, our buddy Brett. I was just losing my mind knowing that he was in the venue, and you were right next near him.
I was right next to him. Yeah. So shout out to Here for Goose. He has been, if you follow him on Instagram, he has been posting like daily memes for like 2 years about like Doc Brown and wanting to see Doc Brown. And he got it last night, and he was like jumping up and down and hugging everybody, and just he was so excited, and it was awesome. So shout out.
Yeah, we were right next to each other for Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, and I have a video of the two of us just going, "Oh my god, oh my!" Like the video makes no sense because I'm doing like this with my phone because I'm freaking out so much.
Yeah,
so it's good for people that have been around for a while to get those very niche tunes that they want to hear.
And Ate Up All the Cake. Thoughts on that?
It was
sick.
It was sick.
It was sick.
That was also just to highlight a great show moment. So those people I was telling you about before, like, I was like, here, hold on to a joint for me. They're like, don't just give us one. I'm like, no, just you'll know when you want to light it. And then Doc Brown started, and they're like, I was like, oh, you know what? Let's light that one. And they're like, you think now is the right time? Like, look at what Getty's doing. There's a rectangle of green light, a rectangle of yellow light, and a rectangle of red light. He's saying, "Job bless, light your joints." It's the second song of the show. It's time to get.
Oh, that's great.
He's guiding you. It's all a part of the show, bud.
There we go. Neil, your thoughts on these first three here?
Well, Doc Brown in the 2 slot, guaranteed banger of a show. That is the harbinger of a good time. Is Doc Brown in the 2 slot. And then, of course, Ate Up All the Cake. I have not yet heard it. Huge Bon Iver fan. Long before I knew about Goose, I was a Bon Iver fan. So I was just counting the minutes until I caught this one, and I finally got it. So
it was a big night for Chases, of course. I love Ate Up All the Cake. This is I think my third time seeing them play it. But that, and I mean, Turbulence back in the opener slot where it belongs. This was, I think, my 5th time seeing Turbulence open a show. Which is funny.
It was my second this year. It was our second this year.
yeah. This is the most I've seen. The song I've seen open the most shows, which is pretty funny. But solid start here. And then next 3 songs we get It Burns Within, Jive 2, Jive Lee. Short gap on It Burns Within. Kind of surprised to see this pop up again so soon. I will say, right after Ate Up All the Cake, I felt that maybe they were in danger of losing a little bit of momentum. Like I felt there was a bit of a lull in at least the music of the set. The crowd last night was so excited. The whole show, the energy was amazing coming out of the audience. So shout out to that. And then Jive 2, Jive Lee, nothing crazy. Just, it was sick. Connor?
You stole my line. That bastard stole my line. Yeah, I mean,
good line.
It was so lovely and just beautiful, and I'm just like standing there, like holding my arms like this, so yes, and it was just locked into the moment, and it was fantastic. And yeah, I mean, Jive 2 and Jive Lee to finish out the set, you can't really complain about that. that is just good old fashioned goosing.
Yeah, this was also the first Jive 2 Lee that wasn't part of like a full performance of the whole triptych since October 2022. I thought that was a long time But I love, Jive 1 Lee's like pretty, expected stuff. Like I love throw us a Jive 2 Lee every once in a while on its own. It's good stuff. Neil, your thoughts on the middle part of this set here?
Burns Within, like obviously big time rarity. I think once you got Ate Up All the Cake and it burns within, well, Doc Brown through, I guess it burns within. You're like, all right, so this is going to be a bust out show. Like there's some intention here to play stuff that doesn't get played often. Burns Within, not a bust out, played on very short rest, which is really weird, but like obviously a big time rarity. So that part was pretty cool. Jive 2 was pretty great. The Lee was like not very good.
So, Neil, but this is important. Please share your thoughts on this Jive Lee.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to do it. We discussed like whether or not I was going to do this. I'm going to do it anyway. So there are sometimes, I say this on the pod a lot. The synth is a very dangerous instrument because sometimes it can be absolutely amazing, and then sometimes it can not be. And then so what this Jive turned into was like kind of not really a synth solo, and like I don't know what was going on. But like it was, I don't know. It was not the best Jive Lee. I just saw the Northlands Jive Lee, which might be the best one ever. So I don't know. I was a little disappointed. It kind of seemed like Rick and Peter were like looking at each other, like, all right, do the thing. And the other guy was like, no, you do the thing. And like, so nobody did the thing for like a really long time. And then I think they just gave up and they were like, all right, we're out. Like, no more Jive Lee. So I just had high hopes for the song. It didn't quite reach those high hopes, but yeah, that's my thoughts on Lee.
There we go. All right. And then the set closes out here with Your Ocean and SOS. Again, third ballad of the set. A little bit weird in terms of flow and pacing. I thought, I love Your Ocean. And once again, I think the energy of the crowd kind of saved the energy of the set, which was great. And then SOS, I think this is my fourth time seeing SOS this tour. It's so good every single time.
Every single time.
Set closer, set opener, encore, wherever you want to put it. It's just amazing. Brings the energy. Rick got the lyrics right this time.
Goose's parcels.
Good stuff. Connor, what do you think of these?
I would just say that one, it's so sick that we have a jam band with people with beautiful voices. True. I would listen to Rick sing Your Ocean every single day. I know you probably already do. It's just absolutely beautiful. It's just absolutely beautiful. And then SOS is just a great time every time. And Goose is Parcels. Parcels is good. I'm just thriving off of a Parcel show at Red Rocks and do 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 do. I don't know what instruments they play. That wasn't a clav, but it was so good. And it's just like, oh yeah, we just had a couple of little emotional tunes. Now it's time to wiggle your butt a little bit. I was telling people next to me, I was like, you're gonna want to loosen up the knees and lift the feet off the ground for a second because you're about to boogie.
Did they loosen up the knees or did they just get ready to boogie?
I brought some WD-40 with me.
Nice.
And greased up everyone's knees.
I feel like Neil could have used some of that this morning. Did you loosen up your knees before SOS last night, Neil?
Did I? No. Well, I mean, no, because this show. Well, I think this is a point to talk about the set list. There were definitely some deep cuts being played, but there was a lot of slow songs in that first set. And I feel like when they played Your Ocean, as much as I love Your Ocean, and I'm not saying like anything was bad about the performance, but it was just so slow after so many slow songs. And I feel like, I don't know, a lot of people were chomping away. A lot of people were like kind of thinking about, having conversations, but like the air kind of got let out of the tires a little bit. And, but SOS saved it. Of course, always goes absolutely bonkers. And had a blast in that one, man.
All right, well, let's go into set break here. Connor, tell us about what you were up to at set break. What was the vibe like, and what were you hoping for in set 2?
Well, as far as hopes, I am team never ask or call for anything in the world because then you get every single song that you want. And if you are like, oh, I really want to hear this song, and then you don't get it, all you're thinking about is the song you didn't get. So that's just my little thing. That's my ethos for jam band shows.
In the wise words of our intern Haps, the best song is the next song.
Yeah, exactly. And then, yeah, and it was great. Someone ran and got water for us. I was saying to Ryan earlier, it's like my friend was just like, well, should we, move back? Should we stay here? I kind of like being up close. And I was like, well, let's just stay for the first song and see what happens. And then maybe we'll move back. And I knew that you were like right in front of soundboard. So I was like, well, I would go see him and then maybe bounce back and dance in the grass a little bit. And then Wisteria started, and I just looked at her. I was like, "Oh, we're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere."
Yeah, it was a good moment. Yeah, set break. I went back and I saw you for a bit, Neil, and I did make my way back to front of the soundboard, but eventually, left there during Creatures, I think, just because it was getting a little too cramped. But yeah, I was hoping for a big jam. I felt like kind of like Charlotte, a little bit of a slower start to the show. But I had faith that they were going to come out for the second set with a big jam. And lo and behold, they did. Neil,
They're one of the best bands about giving people what they want.
They are. It's true.
You had a question about set break? Oh, yeah. I didn't talk about
anything else to add about set break, or shall we talk about the Wisteria?
What did I want to say about set break? Oh, a couple things. Well, I want to talk about the show last night a little bit, which I meant to do like in the pre-show vibe section, but this is a good enough spot as any. So last night I had the crazy experience of my brother had some friends come to the show, and two of them had tickets to the show. The other person did not have a ticket. I, through some kind of miracle, a kind person on Cash or Trade miracled this other person, and they got miracled into their very first Goose show. So all three of them were seeing their first Goose show last night. And we got somebody into a kind stranger, thanks to a kind stranger on Cash or Trade. So thank you very much to whoever that person was. But so shout out to them. It was Jake, Lucy, and Ava. Great people. All are coming back to see Goose again, I hear. So I'm told. So just wanted to talk about that. Otherwise, set break. I don't know, man. I was just chilling. I think I went and got some waters. I got a beer. Yeah, I was just settled in. As you know, Ryan, I was very much settled in back there. So
settled is a good word to use. Yeah, you were raring to go for set 2. And they come out with this Wisteria, and within like the first 3 seconds of the jam, Peter is doing the exact opposite of what you were saying he was doing on the synth during Jive Lee. Like the first thing that came to mind was a spaceship taking off, and just like levitating, and this like these very subtle textures on the OB6 for the while. And this first half of the Wisteria jam is one of my favorite things that they've done all year. Rick laying into the digital sauce pedal. Shout out to D. I love that term. I'm going to keep using it. I used it in my review today. Laying into the digital sauce, Cotter just keeping it nice and sparse while still driving forward, and just Peter just laying into those textures in the first half. But man, this was blowing me away. Connor, how did it feel up at the front?
Well, it speaks to the venue. I mean, it's one of the best places to see Goose or anyone. And you get a set break, and then you come back for the second set, and they slowly ease you into nighttime Goose. And hey, the lights are going to be a little bit different. They're going to be a little bit more special now that it's not so light out. And here, we'll take you there on a little journey. Come with us and dance through the stars, and then maybe through the water and play. It was great. I do have something before we get into white lights, but finish your Wisteria.
Yeah, Wisteria was. I mean, Ryan, you kind of nailed it. The first half, to me, it sounded like a lot like the same vibe of like the Eugene Bourne, where it was just like, we're gonna get like lock into a groove, we're gonna make weird sounds, and it got super psychedelic.
But just in case people are curious, unlike the Eugene Bourne, Neil really likes this Wisteria.
I do really like this Wisteria. I actually really like this Wisteria. It's one of my favorite jams of the year. We listened to it twice in the car this morning on the drive to Philly, and I actually left the show thinking like, that was a pretty good Wisteria. And after my second listen today, I'm like, it's one of my favorite jams of the year. It's so incredibly good. It has that excellent first section, and then it has that kind of Bliss section in the back half, which is like a continuation of the Raleigh Pancakes theme that they got really into, which Ryan, you were saying sounded a lot like when the Saints go marching in.
Yeah, like
which,
adjacent to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, really great stuff. But yeah, it's that first half that's really the star for me. I'm looking forward to figuring out where that slots in on my playlist. But yeah, definitely super high up after that. So let's move on now to White Lights, Loose Ends, White Lights. My first Loose Ends. I was so excited about this. As soon as they dropped into that like charging minor key zone, I was like, come on, like do it. You want to do it. And then they went into Loose Ends. You could tell they were just having a ball up there. This is one of those things similar to Charlotte where they open the second set with a big jam, not that much time until curfew. They're like, we're just going to have a great time. We're going to party for the rest of the show. And that's kind of what they did here. But Connor, you said you had some thoughts.
Yeah. So my buddy Pat, who famously, his famous story, was in the same room with Rick and Pat when they first met, selling both of them weed in like high school. And we like to joke that he started Visuto. But he texted me at like 3:02 and says, I have it on good authority that they're going to do a 6-hour chopped and screwed White Lights tonight. And so when the White Lights started, I'm like, no way, this is so cool. And he also in that long, he said the people of Portland are begging for something more abstract, and Goose is going to give it to them. Also, go to Tandem Coffee Co. and the Holy Donut. A little plug for the Portland shops. But yeah, I mean, I guess Goose was feeling, and I asked him, I was like, who is your good authority? He was like, no one. It was just me. I was looking for a good White Lights, and I hadn't seen one in a while, so I figured we'd play it for tonight. But yeah, I mean, I also appreciate like the people of Portland are begging for something abstract, and I think that they got it in the show. And I mean, the Loose Ends was just absolutely incredible. It was so sick.
Yeah, that Loose Ends was coming. I think we heard it a lot in the Lee. They were like right on the edge of Loose Ends and Lee for quite a bit.
For sure, for a while, yeah.
Yeah, for a long time. So, they found their way to that Loose Ends and this White Lights, which like really good jam for White Lights too. This was pretty amazing, second song, I guess, of the second set. Really, really dug this one. We were tearing it up.
Yeah, it's great. And then from here, second set closes out with Creatures into AEIOU. You can hear Neil on the boards. He was behind the soundboard, but you can hear right when AEIOU starts, somebody like shrieks kind of in the background. That was Neil. The vibes were so high during that song that like Hap's shirt came off. Like there was a lot
going
on.
He popped his top?
He did. He popped.
What did he say about popping tops?
He popped. Hap's popped.
He
popped.
Haps. Oh, I'm gonna have to talk with him in Philly. I'm gonna have to work.
We have to have a conversation with him.
We cannot be popping tops this early into the tour.
Hey, if Goose plays hands down their best cover,
oh yeah,
like folks are popping tops. I mean,
it happened.
Yeah, it almost happened.
Meghan Markle called it. I don't know if you guys actually don't follow me on Instagram. It's very niche. But I fall asleep to Suits every night, and I'm watching Suits, and like State of the Art comes on, and I'm like, holy shit, this is my niche. Like they're playing State of the Art in a Suits episode, and then the next day I hear it live by Goose. Like,
he manifested it. This is also for those keeping
Meghan
track.
Markle. She's the people's princess. Okay, she's the people's princess.
Good to know. This is the first State of the Art since October 8th, 2022 in Austin. 129 shows, long gap. Should not be on the shelf for this long because, as Neil said, this is one of, if not Goose's best cover. And I was so excited to catch this again.
No, it's not one of. It is their best cover.
All right. But I was just excited that I got to be with you when you got your first State of the Art, Neil. This has been the biggest chase.
Like I've been chasing that song since like I started listening to this band, basically. 9/17/20, the version in that show is so good, and I've listened to it like dozens and dozens and dozens of times. So like I really, really wanted to catch this, and I just missed it a couple different times. So the fact that I got it, I was in fact shrieking. You can definitely hear me on the boards. It's the high-pitched scream. It sounds like a child. It's not. It's me.
All of the whistles are me. I realize I'm obnoxious. I was watching the show again. I'm like, oh wow, I'm really making a lot of noise.
Good point. While we're on the subject of popping tops, Cotter did pop on the stream. We heard last night. There was a little bit of nipple action at the beginning of the second set.
Well, that's encouraged.
That's a good bit.
Yeah. Before we get too crazy with all of our tops and our pops and our AEIOUs, I want to go back to creatures because I've been wanting to talk about this on this podcast for a while now because I hear it in the song itself, but then it also is in the lyrics, and I think it's a very cool little thing. Human Nature by Michael Jackson and Creatures by Goose. If we go out, get me out into the nighttime, for walls won't hold me tonight. That's Michael Jackson. That wasn't Rick. And then in Goose, in the Ricky, glide on the water like it's ice, scattered on the tide we pour in. No wall can hold us back tonight. And then you have the dichotomy of creature and human nature. And I think that's fun. I haven't elaborated completely on it. I want to keep it brief, but I think that that's a cool little thing that kind of ties together. And I want to ask Ricky about it and Peter about it. All right, that's my time.
Anything else to add here, Neil, before we hit the encore?
No, but can't wait to talk about that.
I'm going to throw it to you first because you had some really amazing thoughts on this Empress when we listen back to it tomorrow. But this is way more than I was expecting out of a quick. That is to say, it's like 17 minutes. Empress encore. But yeah, Neil, go ahead.
Well, yeah. So I got a hard time for leaving the venue for Animal last night or the 2 nights ago, and Empress encore. You're thinking to yourself, this isn't going to be very good.
Well, no. No. Let's rephrase that.
Fuck up.
Yeah, let's rephrase that, Neil. This isn't going to be a noteworthy jam. It's going to be really good because it's an Empress in the encore slot, and Empress is sick.
Yes.
Sorry, Connor. So, Neil is a noted Empress skeptic.
I am an Empress skeptic. So listen, like being friends with Ryan Storm throughout 2021 was brutal because he could not stop talking about every single Empress that they played.
They were all very
it was
good.
the best jam of the year. And so I'm a little bit weary of Empress of Organos because I've said
it's been 3 years.
It way too much. I mean, what happens if you just eat nothing but peanut butter sandwiches every day for 6 whole months? You don't ever want a peanut butter sandwich ever again.
Neil, I got an Uncrustable in my fridge right now that I'm about to stuff down your throat. You keep talking really about an Empress.
Okay, we're falling off the rails here. So the point I was trying to make is that I wasn't expecting much out of this Empress. Let's say it that way, okay? I wasn't expecting much.
That's better.
And then, of course, it was incredible. And I mean, Cotter in this jam was so good. I feel like he was in the driver's seat. He was actually leading the improv, the big start-stop sections. I mean, all kinds of stuff that you would never expect to get in an encore. There's might be my favorite encore ever. It was that sick, and I wish they had more time to explore the space that they found in this Empress because it was incredible. Not the jam of the night, but that one small segment might be one of my favorite things they've done all year.
Yeah, I had made my way over to my parents, as the jam was starting. And I said to my mom, as they were really tearing through that dark section, I was looking at my watch and I was like, if curfew was 15 minutes later, give them another 10 minutes, give them a little more time to work with this Empress. If I managed the venue, I would have, you hear that, you radio in, you're I'll pay the fine. Let them cook, let them do a little more here.
Yeah. They should just post a Venmo on their thing. Just being will you
crowdfund to go over curfew
for 10 more minutes of Empress? And we'd be yep.
I contribute to that.
Do I still have time, or are you ready for me? Because I would love to talk about the Empress.
No, of course you have time.
Okay. So the Empress is one of my favorite songs, and I have completely worked out a play, and I will be creating this play with my students, acting out these weary travelers going through, and then being confronted by the Empress, and then darkness, classic middle school play, like a bunch of kids in black, like surrounding all of these weary travelers as they're trying to find their way. And then they're all chained up, and all the guys are like kind of chained up. It's probably going to be best animated. Sax will animate it for me. And then they slowly start realizing, like, because Trevor could take on the Empress by himself. I've said it to his face. He could take on doom, 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 doom. And so it's like they're all like in change, but then like he's like, I can actually pick on my thing right here. I can do this. And then Peter's like, oh wait, I can. And so then it just becomes a nice little airbend in my play. And then gong shot, all the chains get broken off of them, and then you think, oh my gosh, these guys are going to defeat the Empress. But it's not that they're going to defeat the Empress. They're going to win her over with the love and rhythm. Yeah. And
Amazing.
It's not
this
about
is gonna be on Broadway. This is going to be on Broadway in a couple of years.
With love, Neil.
Yeah. I don't hate
Neil doesn't
Empress.
really have a lot of love or rhythm in his heart. He's all about
It's just
the negativity.
it's cold and black. And, yeah.
We know.
It's like the Grinch. Yeah.
You think you're powerful, but we actually
We have the love and the rhythm, Neil. Yeah.
You say it may look like a bad Empress or whatever the fuck you were saying.
I didn't say it was bad.
It was so sick.
You said not very good. Anyway.
No,
Anyway, that
the
brings us.
expectation. I didn't. Oh man, see now like.
Well, good.
There's
This is
a
a
whole
good
narrative
time.
being
It's a
built
good
around
time
this.
to stop. We'll stop Neil before he, starts defending himself, so we can let everything stew before Saturday's pod, when he'll have to come back on and defend himself again. Always fun.
All right.
Connor, it's always such a pleasure to have you on the pod.
Thank you for
being
having me on,
today.
Neil. You know I love you. I'm sorry for being a bully, but should all three of us pop our tops at the end of the show? Should we just all take
No,
our shirts off?
I'm in a restaurant
I'm
right
good
now. They will
too.
kick me out.
Well,
Thank you
Neil
so
and I are
much for
gonna
having me.
finish our drive down to Philly to Casa de Interns. We are hitting up Brownstein Family Band tonight, so if you are going to be there, please say hi. It's going to be a lot of fun, and of course, Goose at the Man tomorrow is going to be amazing. Saturday's pod is going to be great. We are going to have RJB of Osiris and Dean Novin, who made an appearance yesterday of Goose the Band trivia. It's going to be a great episode. It's going to be a great show. Every kid does need Connor as a teacher. The world would be a better place if he was shaping all of America's youth. Anyway,
Please, I was looking for you after the show. I couldn't find you.
we were
So
looking for you too.
hug. I'll see you again
Anyway,
soon.
thank you everybody for tuning in. Thanks again, Connor, for being here. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you on Saturday. Peace.